justChanel here. Hey guys, justChanel here. Welcome to my channel. It's Sunday, the start of another vlog. I'm up early. My assistant is here. We're getting some orders out. This past week was Thanksgiving and Black Friday, so we wanted to get a jump start on getting your tea orders and drinkware, all that stuff orders out. So I'm about to print some labels. I'm also going to send a pre-Cyber Monday email. So I'm working on some graphics for that. And yeah, hopefully we can get a big chunk of this done by noon. And then church actually comes on in about an hour. So I'll be taking a break. But stay tuned. Make sure you are subscribed. You're following me on Instagram. And you shop quality. Drinking Sage Cleanse this morning, of course, with my cup overflows with a blessings mug. I really love this blend because it's a self-care blend. Sage, lavender, citrus. It's really nice. It's low caffeine. I just think it's perfect on Sundays when it's like I need a tiny bit of energy just to stay up so I'm not being lazy in the bed all day. But it's just like very soothing, relaxing. I just love it, and it smells amazing. So this is what I'm about to drink. I have my tea infuser in my mug here, and my water is ready that quick, literally 40 something seconds. That's amazing. And we have church on in here just to listen to it while we're working. And of course, I'll listen to the 11 o'clock service too, to take notes a little bit later. When God has a purpose on your life, He will cause people to remember your name. I literally spoke about this in another vlog, y'all.
If God knows your name, God will bring your name up in rooms, in situations, in circumstances, and in places while you're just living the life He's called you to live. Friend, I want you to have confidence. I don't want you to feel overlooked. I don't want you to feel like God has forgotten about you. I want you to know that while Joseph is in prison, God is bringing up his name in another room in the palace while they think He has forgotten him. He says, what about that, Joseph? I want you to know that some of the reasons that you've gotten to the place where you are in your life today is that God has allowed your name to be remembered. God has called your name. God has lifted your name. God has put your name on the lips of people that thought they had forgotten about you.
We are working hard in here. Jazz and Dim just came over to take some product shots for Home Tone. Jazz be working all like... Oh yeah, I have some more. It's the vlog. Look at these, so pretty. Holiday collection for Home Tone. OMG. Look at this setup that Jazz has. Everything, the glasses and the bowls and everything are mine. I'm like, girl, please come set up my table for Christmas, because this is the setup. So you guys will be seeing this in the next few weeks. This is so cute. Making breakfast. I'm gonna do a ham veggie cheese omelet and then some pancakes. Of course, I'm gonna add my breakfast blend in these pancakes, and then also leftover yams from Thanksgiving. And of course, this is leftover ham. So nice little after Thanksgiving breakfast. Well, a few days after. breakfast. Sweet potato pancakes, and of course made with the leftover yams from Thanksgiving, and then a ham and veggie omelet with the leftover ham from Thanksgiving. Perfection. All right, y'all, so I am finished watching the second service for today. I just wanted to share some things with you guys. The sermon is entitled Position for a Purpose. So, it's just so good. It's based off of Genesis chapter 41, verses 1 through 40. And this is the story of Joseph. The story of Joseph starts in Genesis chapter 37. But this is after Joseph has been thrown into prison and he meets the cupbearer. And you guys know, like, well, some of you may know the story where, like, the cupbearer and the baker, they had dreams about basically their destiny. And anyway, the baker ends up being killed. The cupbearer is alive. The cupbearer tells them, you know, I'm gonna look out for you. I'm gonna remember when I go back and serve at the hand of Pharaoh. I'm gonna let him know that, you know, you basically interpreted my dream. However, the cupbearer totally forgets about Joseph. So Joseph is in prison. Okay, so chapter 41 starts off where basically Pharaoh has a dream. Nobody could interpret the dream. So then the cupbearer was like, oh dang, you know, I forgot there's this guy named Joseph. He's actually in jail. I really totally forgot about him. He's been down there for 2 years. I was supposed to look out, but dang, my bad. Anyway, he can interpret the dream for you. So they go get Joseph. Joseph, you know, Pharaoh tells him the dream. Well, first Pharaoh actually asked him, can you interpret my dream? And I like this in verse 16. Joseph says, I cannot do it, Joseph replied to Pharaoh, but God will give Pharaoh the answer he desires. So eventually, you know, we get into more of the verses, and of course, Joseph interprets the dream, but it's awesome how in verse 16, he actually gave all the glory to God. So he's saying, I can't do this by myself. This is something that, you know, God, this is a talent, a gift that God has given me, and it's really God that's going to do this for you. And so anyway, he goes ahead and he interprets the dream, and of course, the dream means that there will be 7 years of plenty and then 7 years of famine in Egypt. So the whole point of the sermon, though, that's just the story behind it. And Joseph is like one of those Bible characters that I absolutely love. I used to watch I think it's called Joseph. It's like, if you grew up in like a Christian based household, you guys, your parents may have had like the VHS tapes of a bunch of like Bible stories and stuff. And I know my parents had a bunch of them, and we had like, I think it was like 2 or 3 tapes of the story of Joseph, and it was from, I think, before Joseph was even born, because Joseph was the youngest of his brothers. So it kind of took you like through each of his brothers being born. I think at one point, like one of Joseph's sisters was even raped or something happened around the lines of that, all the way like through Joseph's life, and even his brothers coming after the famine or during the famine, and you know, like them moving into the palace and all this stuff. So anyway, I'm gonna watch that movie today, but the whole purpose of this sermon is to say that God places us and positions us for purpose. So Joseph's story in itself is like such a lesson. There's so many different things we can learn from it. Joseph was betrayed by his own family at age 17. It wasn't until age 30 that he now is basically the head over Egypt, right? So after interpreting this dream, Pharaoh's like, okay, well, we have to set somebody up and somebody in charge of making sure that we're setting aside enough food for this famine, this 7-year famine that we're going to have. And Pastor mentioned, he was like, you know, usually when an opportunity comes up, people like the company, you could say like your job will probably look internally first. God had already positioned Joseph and placed Joseph in that place and made the decision for Pharaoh, you know, and here Pharaoh was probably thinking like, oh yeah, I made a good decision. Like I got Joseph in charge of this. But God, you know, God is like, well, this was already Joseph's purpose. Like, but cool. What else? Oh, and then even
in verses 41 and like throughout the chapter, it talks about how Joseph is provided with so many different things, like a ring, a gold chain, a robe, a wife. Like literally God provides. So not only does he, this makes me think of so many different things, so many other like sermons I've listened to, because Pastor Mike Todd of Transformation Church, he talks about, I think it was a part in the original relationship goals series, talking about how God places us before the person. And when God places us somewhere, he gives us purpose, he gives us provision, he gives us identity. And these are things that God gave Joseph, like in the midst of this entire story, right? Like he placed him in Egypt, okay? He gave him purpose, even though he had to wait for it to really see his purpose. He was in prison. He was a slave. He gave him provision. He didn't die, you know, during the 13 years that he was there before he became in charge of Egypt. And then he like literally set him up. Like he got gold chains, rings, robes, a whole wife, like had kids and everything. So it's just a great story. Like, you know, sometimes we are in a waiting room, and I think I talked about this in another vlog, because a few weeks ago the sermon was on working while we wait. And sometimes we are in a waiting room. I'm just gonna kind of look over my notes and mention some things that I highlighted and wrote in like different colors. So one thing is, when God has a purpose on your life, he will cause people to bring up your name. Your name will be remembered. So this is like what people say all the time. Your name is brought up in rooms that you don't even know it's happening, right? Like you don't know what's going on. Legit, I was about to say Jesus, but Joseph was in prison, y'all. Joseph is in prison, like, which I'm sure was real far from the palace in Egypt, where this cupbearer is right by Pharaoh, like, oh dang, I forgot about this dude named Joseph. Now imagine how many people were in Egypt, like, and out of everybody in Egypt, all these skillful people around, right? The cupbearer remembers Joseph 2 years later. Like, I can barely remember anybody I met 2 years ago, briefly. You know what I mean? Like, what? So just that is literally, God will bring your name up in rooms where, like, to be remembered for a purpose. Like I said in verses 16, I have a God who can. So giving God the glory, regardless of what our gifts are, what our talents and abilities are, making sure that we're always glorifying God. And there was one more thing, or there was a few more things. Oh yeah, so it took 13 years for Joseph to really like walk in his purpose, see his purpose, but he knew there was purpose. He had so much faith throughout that time, throughout his entire life. We read his story, and his purpose was led by faith, right? And so, or is it his faith is led by purpose? Y'all know what I'm trying to say. I don't know which way I'm supposed to say it. But anyway, bloom where you are planted. That is something that Pastor said. It's so funny. I actually have that in my notes as a caption. I bloom wherever I'm planted. And that's so important because, you know, Joseph, he really did bloom in Egypt. That was not where he was from. That's not where he should have been. It was slavery, but he literally, he blossomed in a place that he had no business being in the first place if his brothers wouldn't have betrayed him. But imagine, who knows what his life would have been like if that didn't happen. Here he is in charge of Egypt, bro. Egypt. It's wild. I was not supposed to be talking this long. I really wanted this to be like a little 3-minute chit chat, but I'm just going to keep going. And last thing, of course, we want to make sure we pray. So at the end of our sermons or our Bible studies, in this particular case, based on this sermon and these verses, we say, Lord, thank you for being with me. Joseph knew that God was with him at all times, no matter what he was going through. And we have to remember the same thing. We have to remember that God is working for us, that God is working with us, that he's guiding us, he's protecting us, he's providing for us through everything, all stages of our life, all journeys, all waiting rooms. You know, he is working for us, he is with us. And yeah, you know, we have to make sure our faith is strong. Continue to strengthen your faith. God does all things for good and for his glory. So that is what I have for y'all today. I'm so excited to study these verses. So of course, I took notes. Oh, it's the wrong way, but I took notes in my my new sermon notebook that I got a few weeks ago from Target, and I just used my regular Bible. This is just the Bible, like the journal Bible. But I'm gonna study these verses probably tomorrow in my actual study Bible, so I can just dive deeper into that chapter, Genesis 41. But I'm about to try to find this movie on Amazon and yeah, watch the movie, because I would love to do that. And it's long. I love Bible movies. Like, I used to be obsessed with Bible movies. I just went through so much to find this movie, y'all. The Voodoo app, I think it's called. And I don't even know if this is actually the one I wanted to look at. Guys, it's all coming back to me. So, I think the movie starts off like this when Joseph is a teenager. And then he's going to start speaking and he's going to be like, I am Joseph and this is my story.
Proving this isn't the way of a man like you.
Oh shoot, here it comes, guys. It's coming. I get it.
These are old memories, master.
Okay, so this is how the movie goes. After Joseph is accused of rape with Potiphar's wife, Potiphar asked Joseph to basically make him believe the story, and Joseph is like, I've seen the consequences and the, all of the bad that comes from rape. I would never do such a thing. It's against God. It's horrible in the eyes of God. And then he goes back his story because Dinah got raped and his brothers went ham. Oh, it's coming. It's here. I feel like we did it, Joe. We did it. Like, I waited a good 30 minutes for this. Y'all, I'm in here tearing up at the darn movie. I mean, forgiveness, man. It's a thing. First of all, why is it so dark? I'm still editing. I'm almost finished, though. It is so dark. This is crazy. I know it's just a movie, but it's a real story, so it's just like, dang. Like, Joseph really went through it.
That is not the listen, the Lord. Blessed be his name.
Like, whew, no words. Making a quick dinner. This is a red snapper, just adding a little bit of my essential seasoning. The entire savory seasoning and spice line is salt free. So I just think it's really important to be able to control your salt intake if you like. And I personally don't like a lot of salt, and obviously it helps with weight loss and bloating when you're not intaking so much salt. So the essential seasoning is literally good for everything. I'm gonna make a quick sauce, like a white wine lemon basil sauce. So that's why I have some lemon here, a little bit of basil. This is fresh basil, but it kind of dried up, so I think it'll be really nice in the sauce. And then I'm gonna use a splash of heavy cream to make it a little bit creamy. Just gonna pan sear this really quickly. Have some olive oil in my skillet, and then we will make our sauce. I'll probably have like some leftover sides from Thanksgiving. I have some black eyed peas left, cream corn, and I may saute up some kale in the sauce. Set my snapper to the side. I'm gonna add some butter right in my skillet for the sauce. This is unsalted butter. And then I'm gonna use some scallions that I already had cut up from yesterday's shrimp and grits. Just throw all those in there. I don't want them to go to waste, so we're gonna use green onions instead of regular, like, sweet onion. It'll also just add some nice color to it. We'll go ahead and add our basil in as well to get that blooming. And here is dinner. I have some leftover sides, black eyed peas, cream corn, Brussels, and carrots. I'm just gonna plate all of this up. And I tasted the sauce. It's so good. I've made like a lemon white wine cream sauce before, but never with basil. I usually just do like a garlic lemon white wine cream sauce. The basil is a nice touch. So we'll see what the snapper tastes like. And I'm just gonna go in my room and watch Girlfriends.
Just finished cleaning my room, y'all. Girlfriends is so funny. And I'm so glad there's 8 seasons because it's going to take me a while to watch it completely through. I'm on season 2. But yeah, I just finished cleaning my room. I just like tidying up my room on Sundays. That way, like, my morning routine just flows. I don't like a lot of clutter and stuff in my bedroom. So yeah, prayer every single morning. Of course, a little Bible study. And then I'm going to get to work. I made some peach cobbler, so I'm going to go check on that real quick. I made like I think I've made it on my channel before. It's like a real quick one of the cake mix peach cobblers. So you just take some peaches. Ooh, I hear it bubbling. Okay, it's not done yet. But I use this butter golden cake mix, and you're just supposed to sprinkle it on top. Like, you actually shouldn't touch it, just pour it on top. And then I use these peaches. They're so much better than the canned peaches. They're the jar peaches in the like cold juice section, like juices and produce. It should be over in that area. Oh my goodness, look at that. I'm gonna leave it in here. I'm gonna turn the oven off, leave it in here for like another 3 minutes, and then let it cool. So I like it to get real crunchy on the top. OMG, looks so good. Ending my night watching this YouTube video. This is the Howard University 2018 commencement speech by Chadwick Boseman. It happens to be his birthday today, so happy birthday to him and rest in peace. Pastor Carter actually mentioned this in his sermon this morning. During this speech, Pastor said that Chadwick mentioned being positioned for a purpose, God positioning you for a purpose. So I figured this would be a great way to end my night after watching service today, taking notes, watching Joseph as well, and kind of like studying that, and then even tomorrow studying Genesis chapter 41. I'm really excited to watch it, and I definitely recommend you guys check it out. It's about a 30-minute video. Check it out and let me know what you think down in the comments. It's been real, y'all. I'm shiny. I did my skincare routine because since I had a facial the other day, my skin is kind of like purging, so it usually takes about 3 days for it to be flawless. So I'm making sure I'm, you know, keeping it clean and toned and moisturized. But anyway, I'm about to go to sleep. I figured I'd go ahead and just wrap up this vlog and make it like a Sunday vlog. So thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Make sure you're subscribed. And yeah, I'm out of here. Bye.